person who is not accountable, he is not careful at all about what he speaks out of his mouth. He just utters anything he feels is all right for him. But we got to think a lot more before we make declarations out of our mouth. We got to think. Evil communication corrupt good manners. Evil communication. It all started off in the Garden of Eden, where there was evil communication that took place with an alien force, where she had no business at all in getting into evil communication. It was because of the evil communication that an evil act took place. She didn't hold herself responsible for the evil communication that took place between the serpent and the woman. She thought probably, well, it's all right. What's wrong? After all, discussing matters about God. But you don't have to discuss matters about God. When God has declared something, He doesn't have another way. What He said, that settles it. If you said you shall not eat of this tree, you don't even have to consider eating of that tree. You don't have to even talk to somebody about the tree. Forget it. I got all the more to enjoy here on earth than for me to concentrate on this one tree. So evil communication would draw you into an evil act. Eventually, it is because of the person who feels, I'm not too accountable. But she was accountable. If she knew that she was accountable, she should have never got into evil communication, because it corrupts your good manners. You may have started, probably somebody would have started off well, but then when you get into evil communication, that word communication also means not only speech, but it getting into practical, in your practical living, getting involved with people who are not saying or speaking the right thing. Getting involved with people who have a double standard of living. Getting involved with the wrong kind of people will corrupt your good manners eventually. Getting involved with people who don't believe what you believe in strongly. There would have been something that you really believe so strongly, which now you think, well, I don't think it's really that. It is only because of evil communication that has corrupted the good manners that I had within me. The belief system that I had now is no more. The kind of purpose for living is no more in my life, because I feel, well, now, because of this communication, now, we may not say because of the communication or because of the company that we associate with, the kind of people that we associate with, but we have already corrupted our good manners. We're no longer accountable for the truth that we have heard. So you are accountable for the truth that you have heard. God is not going to hold you accountable for anything that you did not hear. God is only going to hold you accountable for the things that you know and things that you have heard of. So if you have heard of something that is true and right, at one time in your life that has been truth, don't compromise. Be accountable and say, yes, I know this is the truth. It is the truth just because I have been associating with the wrong kind of people that has caused me to come down to a lower standard of living. That does not mean that it is not the truth. I stand up for the truth. I believe in the truth. If you cannot get along with your associates with the convictions that you have, I'd rather move away so that I can live accountable to God and the truth that I have within me. I find it difficult sometimes to move around with people because I feel, well, if they are not straight, well, I have to be straight. I got to say something and move away. It's not that I despise them. It's not that I kind of, look down upon them, but I want to hold my convictions. I live by my convictions because I'm accountable to my convictions. If I'm not accountable, then I would be loose living. I would just be doing things, well, anything goes. It's all right. Anything goes. Well, we mingle ourselves with the world. We talk to the world. But the Bible says it like this. Let's go to the book of Philippians, chapter number 2. Philippians, chapter number 2. Accountability will take you to the place or to the purpose. Accountability will take you to the purpose of living or will keep you stable in life. In the book of Philippians, chapter number 2, verse number 12 onwards, wherefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, now how do you always obey? As you have always obeyed, because you walk according to the conscience, or you have your accountability. You're accountable. That's the reason you're always obeyed. Wherefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence only. Well, Paul was a personality himself, a very strong character, I believe. But he said, not only in my presence, that's a good thing for us to keep our principles right. I don't need somebody to be around me to keep ordering me, or it is only because of somebody who's around me that I'm afraid, or have the fear of the Lord, or I obey His commandments, or do what is right. But I always do, even if somebody is not there. I mean, your true character is seen when nobody is around you. That's a person who can always advance forward, and that's a person who can hold on to his good character. When nobody is around, you kind of live casual and you kind of think, well, a double standard living is all right because nobody is around me. But that's where you really keep your strength, and that's where you are strengthened. Not in the presence of the brethren, but you're always, wherever you are, you live by a conscience because you are accountable to your own conscience. Not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. I mean, that's a good thing. Be loyal, be faithful, even in the absence of a believer. Oh, he might see me, or she might see me, or somebody might report about me. Well, you're always the same wherever you are. So the best is for you to be conscious, be accountable to the kind of literature you read, to the things that you see. Be accountable. Yeah, I think I shouldn't be watching. Just because nobody is around me, that doesn't mean that I have the right to do something that is against my conscience. Right? So, much more now in my absence. Much more now in my absence. That's a good thing. Because when nobody is around, that ought to be the time that you'll have the test. Just like we find Joseph, in the life of Joseph, there was nobody in the house, nobody greater than Joseph in the house. He told the woman, when the woman enticed him, he told the woman, I recognize that you're married to my boss. I have no right over your life. So when you move around amongst people, know them. I mean, when you talk to them, when you communicate, especially when you're with the opposite sex, you ought to know where your standards are and your limitations. And you got to say, well, I know you are somebody who is married. I should not be talking to you too much. And I'm married too. Well, it's all right for us to, we are in a world where we could just talk and talk and talk. Well, evil communication corrupt good manners. Evil communication corrupt good manners. So, in this particular case, we find Joseph, he was alone with the woman at home. But one thing he declared and said, I know you're the only one that I have no right over. Everything in this house, I'm the head of it. You may be the head of a big company, but that doesn't give you the right to meddle with somebody else's wife or husband. You can say, I have no right over you. No chance. I have all the power, but that does not mean that I'm going to live loosely and use my authority. I have no business at all into interfering into your affairs. It will keep you from evil actions. Be accountable to your own conscience. So build a strong conscience within you.